The suggestions they often offer you in terms of content you might like to watch or listen to that appear next to your own channel and content, I realize they probably derive from the topics and keywords I talk about, like, society, men, women, strength, weakness, blah, blah, blah. As often is the case, you click on it and they're talking about a topic in a way that is completely 180 to your point of view. And it's not only disappointing, but as in this case, I thought I should air my frustration at yet another piece of content that's talking about how men cannot show weakness. Be a monolith. And all of these ways of how to improve yourself as a man, if you actually take a look at all of this content that they're offering you, it's not just superficial. There's no introspection in it. There's no intellect around it. It's all very base, surface, and physical. And usually you'll get short-term goals, but they'll never be long-term, as in the thinking male tends to think the long game. I think the non-thinking male, who thinks more like the female, thinks very opportunistically and short-term. And a lot of this content directed to how to be a better man, how to be the right kind of man, how to be a successful man. In whatever way they're, proffering it towards you, is little short-term wins that end up being recycled yesterdays of doing the same thing over and over again. You don't actually go down a path towards any kind of expansive horizontal growth. It's kind of rewind, do it again, rewind, do it again. Dopamine hit, rewind, do it again. Now, on the side of my content quite recently, I got a provocative video, which I get a few of them, but this one, just the thumbnail. And I'm not going to call out the person because it's not about the person. They're a dime a dozen and they're everywhere. These alpha bro PUAs who have turned into life coaches, all of them seem to be life coaches for men now. And all they really are a mixture of tradcon guys really trying to pick up, trying to find affection from a female, trying to find meaning and a spark in life by accruing more notches on their bedpost, or through doing that, gain confidence in some sort of base sexual masculinity to be able to somehow reveal the mother of your kids later, because you've gotten to know women sexually. They just talk about getting up on stage and manufacturing this kind of charisma. And it's a very male goal-driven mentality, whether it's money, women, trophy, sports, medals. It's the mentality of prepare the male like some perfectly calibrated instrument and point it at the female. And this is what I came to realize through that kind of PUA, life coach, alpha male posturing mentality, is your whole engine runs on when or if she responds to you, then you respond to life. That is, you feel alive. Now, I have nothing against being aware of game. Men and women are different. Their biologies, when they mate, select are different. Bravery, courage, and showing weakness in trying to get a mate, it just doesn't work biologically. She wants that strong male that doesn't show weakness. I get it, okay? Initially finding a female, being a pussy does not really work. But what I don't like about this PUA/life coach shit is I don't see them as really helping the man themselves. They're not being honest and saying, okay, you're lonely, you want affection, you might want love, you might want to start a family, you want all like real honest stuff. Let's be honest with ourselves, and let's be honest with the science, the nature, the primal dynamics between men and women, but let's coalesce it around human beings being fair and cooperative. What I don't like is the intellect, the self-respecting intellect being stripped from the man that's purporting to be this strong alpha type guy, which suggests, some kind of wisdom and intelligence, seeing the whole landscape and picture, that's setting forth with a perfect plan. With these kind of videos, it really seems like it's stripped of thinking, and it's just a checklist of someone who's watched documentaries and said lions do this, and so be like a lion, and so show that kind of strength. It's always the tough lion, the alpha, the strong survive, mating, offspring. It's reduced to these inhuman dot points of animal world correlations that have nothing to do with why that man felt lonely, why that man desires to hold a woman in the first place, what might be missing from him, what he's avoiding. And in looking at that, what kind of strength, real strength that stays with the man, even if a woman isn't around, when he's alone in four walls. That kind of strength, where everything's okay, where his world is great, with or without women, with or without a job, alone or in a crowd. I don't like the whole turning men into scripted actors. Dress right, posture right, learn your lines, learn your script. A solid alpha robot. Go out there and crush it, bro. It's really sophomoric. It's really schoolyard stuff. And like I said, I've got nothing with the game aspect, learning game, because at its base, for someone who finds an attraction to red pill theory and is still highly addicted to women, biologically it's quite natural. I don't like the posturing, and especially these videos. I mean, type it in your search engine. Type never show weakness to women, don't be weak, always be strong, strength, all this kind of antiquated macho chest-beating posturing. And all of it is put on a lion suit and go out there and roar and you'll win the lottery. It's just fucking stupid. Like, for someone who's got a little bit of intellectual curiosity, it just really seems clownish, and it's really depriving you. And I think it's really shortchanging men that kind of have an inkling, well, there's not very many male role models around, and intellect is disappearing from the landscape and everything's very feminized. So this is about the only thing that speaks to me is very base animal posturing. No high mind, no being better up here. What I'm saying is these sage PUA / life coaches that all they do is stop at the first physical base attraction where she's hot, I want to impregnate, and that's all it is. That does very little for the man who needs a little bit more meaning in their lives, where a woman isn't everything. And if she is to have a substantial part of his life, that is just the tip, the very first step of the iceberg. The 95% of the rest needs to be much more, needs to reflect his values and his mind much more. You cannot stay with somebody who is just hot and you're alpha and you propagate the species and that's what we're here for and the survival of the fittest and don't show any weakness. And what gets me the most is the never show weakness. It's the never bit. The reason why the never bit annoys me so much is that it doesn't allow you to move from that first step of like monolithic male posturing strength where you have to be sprinting all the time and you cannot slow down. You have to be the man in front all the time for her. And like I said, I understand the game part, the showing strength at the start to get the mate where she's convinced you're worthy. Biologically, okay, I get it, right? Animalistically. But I don't get having to continually game your partner, your wife, your girlfriend after that point. After you've honestly and openly chosen each other, that you have to continually keep sprinting until you have a heart attack. And you can never let your world, anybody else, get in front of you, lest she start feeling less for you and monkey branch. That you have to be strong just to keep her hypergamistic monkey branching at bay, That's what you're doing when you're being proud of showing no weakness ever, is that you're sprinting so hard all the time. Look at me. You're, bro, look how much I can lift. I can still lift this much. Do you ever allow yourself to go, let me recover? Because recovery to her might look like weakness. Introspection to her might look like weakness. Leaving your job and figuring out what you want to do with the rest of your life, and you have no idea, might look like weakness. Simply saying the words, the mature words, as you get older, and the older you get, the less you know, as a sign of maturity, is, I don't know. And that I don't know to her is weakness. So you're always supposed to pretend to be this lion alpha bro that's dogmatically sure of everything. There's no growth. You can't get smarter than a dumb fucking strong lion. And there's never any discussion of the short-lived alphaness of that lion, how he doesn't stay the alpha for very long, how he's usurped by another lion that comes along, and how old lions don't really exist for very long. And if they do, they're wrecks. They die very quickly. Yeah, sure, hold up the advertisement of the young lion in its prime, the very short window of the lion's flame burning its brightest. But you don't mention how it burns really short. What I hear when I hear this never show weakness, because, and the excuse is naturally women don't like weakness, it's just nature, is all you're doing is stopping her from leaving. You continually run faster so she won't leave. And this is the false marketing I don't like, from the PUA life coaches telling you to be forever strong, which is basically telling you be a monolith of strength and nothing else, lest she leave you and your life is nothing without her. So you got no life without being forever strong. There is no life without her strength of approval of you. To the second of being always told that you should be weak, that's somehow attractive, that's somehow better than being strong. And then the moment you do, they laugh at you and say, in effect, ha, sucker, you fell for that. I can't believe you fell for that lie. The forever strong person is not curious about different sides of him. I mean, for one thing, you're not a creative person if you're not willing to look at things from different angles, looking at life from an angle different from just the alpha lion that keeps his bitches in line. And really, how alpha and strong and in control are you if you cannot act any way other than the way she wants? How in control are you? You're not. It's basically saying, stay in this mode, in this lane, only this lane. Do not move, do not waver, and you'll be okay. That's not control. That's you being controlled. That's not strength. That's supplication. I don't care how they dress it up. This is laughable, to think that supplication to this narrow one-way street as a man, this one-way narrow view of what masculinity and what a man should be, the complete script of what women want and demand you to be, lest you be cast out. And now other men, these life coaches, are casting you out. They're on women's side. What a thinking man despises is the contradictions and the lies. They're advertising the platitudes of women of, we want a strong man that takes care of us and takes care of all the responsibility in our lives collectively. I don't want to do anything. The man's got to be strong and take care of everything. As well is, I want him vulnerable and crying and reflecting me in a lot of ways. They want two opposing things, strength and weakness. So you've got PUA life coaches pushing the female narrative to get women and stay in that mode, and then trying to listen to the narrative of weakness and vulnerability. But it's all for the approval of women. This is what's annoying. None of it is, how does that work for me? How does it reflect on my values? Okay, what are my limits of giving strength and showing strength? And when don't I think it's valuable? If all it is I don't know and I don't care, ask mummy, ask the girlfriend, ask the hot chick. I don't have values, essentially, is what you're saying. So yes, this never show weakness. It's like telling you never show any other side from yourself, aside from the protector, the bodyguard, the perfect hero, the hero that can never fall, because in the female mind, that's a mirror that's shattered. You can never put it back together. So telling men to be forever strong, and that's the answer to their life, is exhausting. And it's not talking to a human being. It's talking to a male machine, a tool, a human doing that when it breaks, it's thrown out. That's what it's talking to. The posturing of these PUA-style life coaches, they're producing strong tools. And so when they need maintenance, these perfect, strong, stoic, never weak tools, they're thrown away. They're never fixed. Always be the shield. Never come off your white horse, Sir Knight. Never lose your job. Never lose your woman. Always stand at your post, no matter what. Protect, always. Never sleep. Never rest. Never look in another direction. Never look at yourself, more importantly. Never ask, is it reciprocated? Am I getting at least a little bit back in return? Don't feel, don't think, don't discern. Don't think about fairness. Don't think whether you're being used. Don't think ethically or morally. And this is why I think many men, when relationships end, feel completely destroyed, because there's nothing there, because they were operating solely from an external perspective of other people puppeteering them. They never saw themselves in the mirror. When you operate as a perfect tool, you're not used to operating yourself. The tool requires others to use them. And this isn't even mentioning the fairness of, if I'm supposed to be this never weak, perfect, always strong thing, what is she giving? What is society reciprocating? If I'm supposed to have these perfect high values of strength, never weak, never fallible, are the people that are demanding these high values from me that I'm proud and want to give as a man, stupidly sometimes, are they mirroring them? Are they giving them back in return, even a little bit? The answer is usually no. It's usually entitled people wanting to use someone who's proud of exhibiting those values. Whatever these PUAs say, and how they're reflecting women wanting just an unwavering strong man and never weak, do these men ask themselves that realistically they're going to fall over in life? Everyone does multiple times. When you fall over once, what's going to happen to your perfect strong world? They don't ask themselves, can you trust this woman not to leave you, not to stop loving you, to stand by your side when you're trying as hard as you can to be strong and never weak, but you're only human, and life will kick you in the stomach. You'll lose your job. You'll get an illness. You will have an existential crisis. You will not know things. If you're intelligent, you'll be intellectually curious. You'll start asking questions. You'll gain humility and say things like, I don't know if I'm that strong, actually. That was a suit of armor. I feel better in not knowing all the answers. Will she be okay with that? Again, could you trust the person, like your friends, your family, other relationships you value highly, that are the most intimate in your life? So we're talking about the most intimate relationship that you can only cartoonishly get on stage and pantomime an act in front of them of strength and nothing else, of the hero and nothing else, unwavering, a monolith of perfection and strength. The moment that hero needs to rest, is she going to stab you in the back because she's disgusted? Because where's the hero? I want the hero. Hero 24/7. Hero, hero, hero. And the reason why men find this insulting is, I cannot respect a woman, let alone anyone else, who appreciates me, loves me, respects me when I'm strong. And then when I'm human, when my stride slows, when I fall over, just like friends and family that you trust, if I go through hardships, they're not friends. They're not people that love you, that laugh at you and throw you at the curb the moment you have a dent in your armor. The point is, you cannot trust them. And the reason why men hate this sort of shit about always be strong and never show weakness, and why I can't stand it, is it relates to men's honorability. It's the same reason men in the past, when they were hunting, you trusted your friends that when you weren't strong, i.e. when you went to sleep, when you weren't alert, on guard, that you could sleep, you could be weak, and they would have your back. They'd understand you need to have low times, that human beings are not a steady line of perfection, that they waver. There's roller coasters in life, that when you go to sleep, I can trust somebody that they'll have my back and they won't see me in a different way. When your friend loses his job, gets divorced, loses his money, and yeah, I get the biology aspect. It's different with your mate and procreation. But what I'm saying is, stop lying that the woman respects you, and stop lying that, what kind of man are you that you can actually game your own brain into respecting somebody that does not respect you in any other way other than a mechanical, robotic, masculine kind of male kind of perfection? The thinking man can't lie to himself that he can respect the woman in front of him if she only loves him in hero mode. It's like a man only loving his woman when she's in sexy mode. She can't keep that up all the time. What would women think if, as soon as a man saw them without their makeup, the man would go, "Oh God, it's over"? It's ridiculous. I cannot trust or respect a woman who only wants to see me as the hero, and I can never sleep, let my guard down, make mistakes, fall over, and through all that, grow myself. I can't give anything to myself through changing my position. No, I have to sit in this chair, never move, have my sword and shield out all the time, doing my job. Not for me, for her. That's the only way they'll love me. No. As you get older, love becomes more than being pat on the head because you're a tough guy. And again, if you can't act any way you wish as a human being, high or low, to me that's weakness. That's weak. When you can't be anything but a perfect, infallible hero. You know what I'd say? I'd say fuck your toughness. Because all it would take would be another man to sleep with your wife, and your whole world would fall apart. How tough are you now, tough guy? This whole never show weakness, the never part. It's playing into the hands of the system of gynocentrism, of making men unthinking, not expecting anything in return, denying their own humanity, and denying like any kind of philosophical, cooperative, sensible, ethical or moral standards that sort of you can really relate to another person like a friend in a deep way. I'm not talking about any kind of woo-woo horseshit with romance or anything like that, but it's about sensible grounding as a person and not being this kind of dressing up and putting on a cape and saying, watch me fly, look how tough I am, look how I punch everyone in the face, doing that your whole life, and knowing in the back of your head the existential fear that if you take that cape off, if you stop performing that superhero role, she'll probably get bored. She'll fall out of love. She never really loved you. She loved the hero, the protector. And deep down, I think a lot of guys have that kind of, they don't want to face that existential realization that unless you're the hero, unless you have the cape on, you don't really know who you are. Anyway, never show weakness. Don't tell me what to do. There's your strength. Feel free to link and share my videos around, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. If you want to say thanks, there are donation options below this content. I really appreciate it. Cheers.